Welcome to another episode of Around the Ozarks Community Corner. My name is Grace, and Lost and Found Grief Center has been serving the Ozarks for over 25 years with no-cost grief support. And with me today, I have Mark Miller and Jamie Fields to talk about the growing need for grief support in our community and their upcoming event, Evening of Hope, at the end of January. So guys, thank you for joining me.
Thanks a lot for having us, Grace.
All right, so let's start talking about Lost and Found Grief Center just as a whole. What is your guys' mission? How long have you been in the Ozarks and all the things?
Sure. Well, as you said, we've been around for 25 years, since 2000. And our foundation is that we offer therapeutic grief support groups at no cost to the families we serve. And that's how we were founded by Dr. Karen Scott and attorney Sean Askinosi in 2000. It started with one group for children and one group for their parents, for children who lost a parent or sibling before they turn 18. And that was on the third floor of Sean's law offices. And now 25 years later, we're in, we're really our third location, but our second standalone building. We're right there on South Glenstone, the big spinny heart, orange and blue. You'll see us right there. But for those 25 years, we've offered these grief support groups, and we have children as young as 4. And we have several spouse loss groups, and we have people in their 90s who've lost spouses, but we never charge for those. We do also offer individual counseling. More than 100 people come to us every year for individual counseling, and that is a fee-based service. But over those 25 years, we've served about 25,000 people, either through our groups, individual counseling, or things like through community outreach, or just through grief education. And so, we talk about it because Jamie and I will say, we're really lucky to have something like this in the Ozarks because many grief centers are in places like St. Louis, Kansas City. There's kind of a famous one, Judy's House, which is in Denver, the Dougie Center, kind of patterned after that one, that's in Portland, but not many in communities the size of Springfield and the Ozarks. And when you say what our vision, our mission is that no one should grieve alone. You will come to Lost and Found Grief Center. You will find people who have suffered a similar loss to you, and together you will find a way to move forward with hope.
So do you guys see an increase in need for the grief support this time of year, like right after the holidays?
Absolutely. Always coming out of the holidays, we see people that either recognize the loss of their person. Sometimes that's the first year, but often we see the second year being a little bit more difficult. You're kind of in a fog. You're adjusting to not having that person there for those traditions. By the second year, you're really feeling that void, and we are able to come up with ways to support and honor loved ones then. Another thing that we hear from area employers is that they don't get the same person immediately after. Most places give you 2 or 3 days off work when you lose one of the most important people in your life. And regardless of if it's you're a school teacher, a nurse, or you work on a factory line, your production goes down. You have brain fog, you have a lot of big feelings, and sometimes things just hit you out of the blue. So one of the things we're advocating for people, it's the new year, make a resolution to take care of yourself, but come to group. If you're an employer, find a way to support that team member and honor their person. It'll mean more than you can imagine. And it's not just about your workforce and production, it's about taking care of each other. So we're really encouraging people this time of year to make it a priority to get support. The other peak time that we do see an influx of calls is back to school time. That's when people are getting back in their routines and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So one of your biggest areas, speaking of back to school, are children and teens. So what does it look like in our community for grieving children?
Well, yeah, and helping grieving children and their caregivers was really what we were founded upon. And 1 in 11 children in the nation will suffer the loss of a parent or sibling before they turn 18. In Missouri, it's even higher. It's 1 in 10 children in Missouri will lose a parent or sibling before they turn 18. So if you think about that, it's 10% of kids in Missouri before they're able to vote are going to suffer a really tragic loss that will have just a huge impact on their lives. And what we find is when children have unresolved grief like that, they're really at risk for their adulthood. So we find that some of the statistics that we look at is 1 in 4 children who die by suicide, were bereaved, so they suffered one of those losses. And children with unresolved grief are 175% more likely to misuse drugs and alcohol as adults, well, as children, teens, or adults. So it is really something that needs to be addressed, and we can help them. And there's nothing kind of magical about what it is, what we do. I mean, a lot of it's talk therapy, but for kids, we do a lot of art projects. We even do something called plate breaking, and Jamie loves to talk about this one. Explain
That
plate
sounds
breaking.
great.
It's awesome. I would recommend it to anyone just to get frustration
Yeah.
out. We love the dollar store, even though it's still more than $1.
$1.25 store.
Yeah.
Buy a huge stack of plates from there and encourage the children, their family, their caregiver, everybody that's present that night for group to do the same activity in their own groups. And it creates a lot of dialogue on the way home because we tell them, cover this plate, draw pictures, write words, what you're feeling, ways to honor your person. And they fill up every inch of that plate. And then we take them outside, put on safety goggles, double bag the plates, and then give them a rubber mallet. And they just pound those plates to smithereens. But it does create a release. It helps you acknowledge these are things I was feeling, and it feels so good to let go of it. It's pretty powerful.
It is. And that's one thing, people who may be watching this and thinking about, hey, maybe I'll try to come to group. If it's a family, we try to have parents will meet on the same night as all of their kids. So, we'll have a teen group, we have a middlers group, we have an elementary age group, and then a little ones group that's 4 to 6. And so they'll all do similar things. Of course, adults are going to do something different than the 4 to 6-year-olds, but a lot of times it's similar. And then what we hope is on the drive home that night, well, what did you talk about? Or what picture did you draw? Or what did you think of plate breaking? You know? And through the plate breaking, a lot of times it's maybe regrets or things you didn't get to say, but you get that out and then symbolically smash those feelings. Our program team works on our curriculum, and so every summer they're coming up with new activities, and it's all informed, and grief research and things like that, but things for our families to do, for individuals, for senior adults, experienced spouse loss. What are the most effective ways for them to process that grief and then move forward in their lives?
Yeah, awesome. So you guys have a big event coming up. It's called Evening of Hope. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. Evening of Hope is a magical evening. I'm not going to lie, though. You're probably going to cry because it does talk about the impact that the donors that filled that room have had in the past year. And last year was our 25th year, and we focused on seeing these full circle stories. So every year we have a speaker that was at one time a participant. Coming through the door for the first time is terrifying. Nobody wants to talk about the worst day of their life, losing these important people. But you get to a place where not only can you come to group, and sometimes we tell people give it 3 times, because your first and second time, maybe you're just listening, maybe you're taking it in. By the third time, sometimes by the first time, we do have some people ready to share. You're able to see that people are now able to laugh. They're able to go through a holiday and not want to just be in bed the whole time. They find new ways to honor their person and new traditions, and that's the beautiful thing about group. But at Evening of Hope, we reflect on the entire year. We bring a speaker in to talk about their story and the impact that group had on them. And then we also have a beautiful video that has vignettes or different stories from other people. And we're really proud to see that come together. I've been involved since 2011, and I've seen people come to group for the first time and not want to be there. Teenagers that are like, get me out of here. And now they are either back helping facilitate and lead other groups. Our junior board president is a past participant. She was our speaker last year. She did an incredible job. And there's so many of those stories happening every single day. There are a lot of ways to get plugged in too. We're always looking for sponsors that want to fill a table, but also you guys and your team have been great partners in coming up with one-of-a-kind, awesome auction items, concerts, experiences you can't get anywhere else, signed guitars. So people will sometimes say, well, what can I do to help? I couldn't facilitate group. That's too difficult for me personally. And I'll say, come volunteer at the event if that's heavy. some non-glamorous jobs. We had people cleaning picture frames and stuffing them for auction items. There's always something to do. And even though it is a really heavy night, seeing the impact and seeing all of these full circles that we're now calling ripples of hope, that's kind of been our theme for this next year. When the bad thing happens, it's like a rock hitting the water and the ripples go out. Eventually, those waves hit the shore and start coming back. Those are the people returning to share their stories, to help other people. And we see that every single day. And it's often people that never thought they would get to a place where they could help others. It's really incredibly powerful.
That's great. So if someone wants to connect with you guys, what is the best way to do so?
Well, if somebody wants to, if they've experienced a loss and they want to get some help, you can do it two ways. We do have an intake form at lostandfoundozarks.com, right? And so that's for new participants. Or you can just call 417-865-9998, and we'll do an intake call. Really just get your basic information. And then within a day or two, one of our trained therapists will call you back and do then what's just called an intake call. And that you're going to get some more details. Who died? What was your relationship like? Who else is in the family? And then we find out about the best place to place that person and maybe the rest of the members of the family. Families will come in and do an orientation before they come to their first group. Just get to see the space, find out what it's going to be like, and then you just start group. And for family groups, we do run sort of on a semester basis because it's so many kids, right? So we start usually after Labor Day and go right up to the holidays, and then we start around this time of year and early January, and then go through May. But you can start anytime. You know, you can start. There's no open closed. You can start anytime, and you can stop anytime. And then if you want to get involved, if you want to donate or come to Evening of Hope, or you have some great thing that you want to donate for our auction, you just need to get a hold of Jamie, and that's just jfields@lostandfoundozarks.com.
Another thing that's incredibly meaningful to people is to make a gift in honor of someone they care about that's not here. That creates a legacy of healing for others, and it also is a way to say your person's name. And I know we're just through the holidays, but sometimes, especially in the Ozarks, people don't know what to say, so they say nothing.
Yeah.
The best gift that you can give somebody that's grieving is sharing a favorite story, sharing a picture that you came across of their person that died, and just let them know that you're thinking about them on special days. We also have something that's tied to Evening of Hope, and it's called Sponsor a Child. It's roughly $1,000 to provide our no-cost grief support services every single year for each kid that we serve. So if someone's interested in that, they can reach out to us for that as well. It's a beautiful way to keep a memory alive, but also help others.
That is great. So if you guys want to find out more about Lost and Found Grief Center, you can visit lostandfoundozarks.com. And Jamie and Mark, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having us, Grace.
Absolutely.